Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Christmas special episode of the Wealth Creation Show. So, today, Jim, we're talking about, does your time actually equal money?
No, that's it.
So
Finished.
we're
That's
going
just
to,
finished.
we're going, we're
That was
going
a
to
quick
explore
Christmas
it.
episode, right? Now off to Christmas lunch.
Yeah, I think we go on about it quite a lot, and time is so important, and it's a really good subject. And there's a lot of different branches that we're going to could go off on today, but I think really how your time is valued in today's world is really important, and that maximising the value of your time, and the age of productivity and efficiency and things are so important, especially in industry and business and what we do, and ultimately building wealth and whatever you do. So I think, yeah, like the concept of time equals money is a common phrase, and it's used in today's society to convey the idea that time is a valuable resource that should be spent wisely. And the basic premise is that time and money have an equivalent value, and that the two can be traded off against each other. So essentially, time is viewed as a commodity that can be used to earn money, or as something that can be saved by spending money on services and products to free up your time. Jim, this is something you taught me, and you've gone about it quite a lot, is freeing up your time and investing in things that will then allow you to be more productive. And it's like you use the phrase like that things aren't dependent on your ability to perform and things like that. These are all time efficient things that you could implement into whatever you do. And
I'm still waiting on Gary jumping in the comments, by the way. See if he's committed. See if he's
But yeah, so and it's just there's a lot of different avenues we're going to explore today. We're going to talk about obviously finite resources, the importance of valuing time. We're going to talk about opportunity costs, which is Jim, you've gone about that quite a lot, and just how it affects people that are self-employed and entrepreneurs and things as well, and how that affects their ventures and vitally investment and things as well. So
when you first talked about this, Richard, when you first said that you're going to talk about does time equal money, I thought, this subject's going to be pretty boring. Because it's like there is only sort of one way to look at this, and my way, and everything else is the highway. But actually, you've come up with some really good content here, and the fact that there's a lot of different facets to this. Does time equal money? It really is down to how you just said. It's how your time is valued. Actually, in today's world, what value do you put on it yourself is actually quite important as well. This is where I come back to every single time when I talk about this to people, and I talk about the value of your time. The one classic example here is, why on earth would I be digging the garden, okay, if I can get a gardener to do it for 20 quid an hour, if I can go away with the same amount of time and earn more, £250 an hour? If I could earn £250 an hour in my own time with my investment strategies, with my buy-to-let or anything like that, flipping properties and refurbing, not flipping properties, but flipping properties, then why on earth would I be actually using my time to dig my garden? I mean, that could be a mental thing, and you might enjoy digging your garden and get some sort of respite, if that makes sense.
People do it for enjoyment, and that's different.
Yeah, because you love doing what you do, and it's your safe haven. It's your place you can go to every single time, like your allotment or something like that, just to relax. Because one of the things that I spoke to you about is when other shows we could be talking about is the balance that you have overall. Now, I don't do balance, but actually I've been reading Seven Secrets of Wealthy People. Stephen Covey, that one, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I should get the title right.
I got it wrong the other day as well. It's quite a long one.
And when I was reading, I'm nearly finished it, but when I was getting to the end, I thought, God, I've been missing a trick right towards the end. I'll be, oh, not, you're joking. If I'd only just actually read this book at the beginning, if I'd read that book at the beginning, I probably could have had it easier, and I probably would have had a lot. I probably would have had a lot more success than I've got now. Not that I'm begrudging it, by the way.
No, but just maybe.
But I would be further on in my journey. I would be further on in the journey, and I'll be further on in what we call success and building wealth and stuff like that. And also, I'd probably have a far better. I would have an enhanced relationship with my children and Elaine as well. And I've got a good relationship with them all anyway, just now anyway. But it would probably be even better. And I've only had just read this book in the beginning. But unfortunately, I just didn't listen to my mentor sometimes. You know, it did happen. It's on occasions. And when they gave me that book, I went, it's maybe one I didn't want to read it out.
Well, I'm intrigued, and obviously I'm a wee bit behind, but obviously you mentioned this one to me, and I ordered it. I just come the other day, and I've not started it yet. But in your one-to-ones, and that's exactly what I was talking about, time, and how I was being pulled in so many different directions, and how could I really, do you know what I mean, do things more efficiently. And you had told me to read that, so I'm going to get to that. So that's quite good. But
look at how I've used technology over the years.
Yeah.
And this is a classic example. I've always used in the early days, I used to fax letters straight off my desktop, and I used to send them into council through fax off my computer. So I typed it up on Word. I had a standard signature, and I just faxed it out to them. And they said that's acceptable to us for any updates or anything like that. So rather than actually using the post, and this is 30 years ago, I was doing this at that time. So fax card to my computer, send it straight to them. I had to obviously disconnect the phone and plug my computer in, and it was dial up at that time. All the funny noises used to get when connecting. But it was a lot more efficient at that time. And then because I've been here, you know, I've been in my place in Spain for about 18 years. So whenever I went away on holiday, I used to bring everything with me. I used to take everything, but it was on my phone. That was the good thing. Everybody was able to contact me on phone. And I did have, at some point, I did have people back home who were able to step in and do some stuff for me. But I was always the point of contact because I self-managed in the beginning. So, and yet at that time as well, remember, I was still a full-time financial controller and financial director in industry.
Yeah.
At the same time as running a buy-to-let portfolio of around about, I think it was 30 properties at that time. You know, so doing that and actually actively buying as well at the same time as well. So I was forced into a position where I had to look at everything and it was my forte. And I've learned over the years as well, obviously, about processes and procedures and systems in order to enhance my time and duplicate my time. Make my time more efficient, but also learn how to duplicate my time. Therefore, effectively, my 168 hours a week now could be 1,000 hours a week I'm working because I'm duplicating my time and in terms of how I'm doing it. And we'll talk about how that's done. But technology has made it so easy to work anywhere in the world. You saw last week I was out in Spain.
That's a great example. The couple of weeks leading up to Christmas here, we've worked just like we would any other week. We do the shows, we do one-to-ones, and all because of technology. And that really, obviously, understanding that time equals money concept has become even more important in people's life today. And technology has made that a lot more prominent. And people are now expected to be able to, be available around the clock, and that's what people's expectation is, and the pressure.
Well, look at when I was out in Necker Island. Yeah. Look what I was doing when I was at Necker Island. There was a 5-hour time difference, I think it was. So effectively,
schedules to make sure.
When you were doing the Wealth Creation Show in the UK at 12:30, I was actually on it at 7:30 in the morning at Necker Island. And that was fine, and that worked perfectly well. But there was occasions where you were doing a Saturday morning show at 9:30, and there was no way I was going to be able to do that because I would have to get up at 4 in the morning, the way that works. And I thought, God, that's a bridge too far for me. It's like that comes into the balance as well, and making sure, because there was a day I would go, I'll get up, and I'd set my alarm, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I've come to Necker Island to really chill out and really have a great time. The last thing I want to be doing is physically working and actually having to get up at different hours of the day and making it, because I would spoil the whole enjoyment of it. So that's where the time's duplicated, where you guys are doing that as well for me. So you duplicate my time in terms of how I'm doing it. So you're absolutely right. Many jobs are now outsourced or automated. You've got a PA, I've got a PA, you've got a virtual assistant, and which means that people are even more strategic about how they use their time. But understanding the time equals money concept, individuals can learn to, I think, prioritise their time, probably set their goals,
Yeah, definitely.
And work more efficiently as well. But time, remember, is a limited resource. This is what I go on about every single time. Everybody thinks they've only got 168 hours in a week. And, you know, theoretically you have.
Yeah.
But you duplicate your time. This is why it comes into the concept of it's a finite resource as in me, myself, and I, but it's not a finite resource if you can utilize other people's time as well to multiply your time.
Yeah.
So how is then, Mark, that leads me to the question, Richard, and I'll ask you this question, in your opinion, of how do you see time as a finite resource?
I mean, defining it as a finite resource is that time itself cannot be renewed or replenished. But like you said, Jim, you could duplicate it. You could duplicate your time and be more productive. And it's like, unlike money or other resources, time is consistently being consumed. So time doesn't stop. It doesn't. Do you know what I mean? It just keeps going. And once it's gone,
whether you like it or not,
yes.
it's
And once
like
it's gone in your
it's
past,
like
it's
what
done.
I say. It's like what I say. You know, this is why they call it the present, because the past is away and the future is tomorrow. But what you have right now is effectively, and excuse the pun, is a present, and that's why it's called the present, because you've got a present right now of the time that you've got, and how are you going to utilize that to do the best thing possible with it?
I think that's where it's important as well. People get really caught up in what's happened in the past and previously, and people, or maybe people, and I'm quite bad at this, think too much about ahead, and really you should just concentrate about the present. And you say that to me quite a lot, just because sometimes I'll say, what about this? And then you're like, oh God, that's 2 days away, that's next week. We'll think about that when we get there. Let's deal with this.
I'll get that when people say to me in the morning,
Yep.
what about this afternoon? I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, that's this afternoon.
Aye, we're dealing with this morning.
I'm still sorting out this morning.
Yeah.
I'll think about this afternoon when it appears. Because I have scheduled everything anyway, so I know straight away in my mind, this is the Stephen Covey thing about the 7 habits of highly successful people. Everything in the afternoon, I've already got it as important but not urgent. So therefore, it doesn't fall into the important but urgent, which is a crisis management. So I have already planned. It's like when somebody says, are you going away on holiday? And I say, well, I'm just about to park and I'm leaving for the plane in 3 hours. And everybody goes, what?
Yeah, no,
You're having a laugh. And it's like, no, but you don't understand.
All the stuff I've had to do to get to.
Everything is in place, and there's a place for everything. I have prepared, and everything is exactly how it should be. And I have even put belts and braces on it, to the fact that if my car breaks down on the way to the airport, I'll leave it at the side of the road and I'll get an Uber and I'll go straight to the airport and I'll get somebody to pick the car up and sort it out. That's how efficient I am at what I do. If anything happens, I know I can, and I've got a plan for it all. So when I genuinely do that, you saw that when I came out here, when I came out to Spain a couple of weeks ago. You saw me do that, where I basically said, right, that's me parking just now, and I'm away to the airport for a 4 o'clock flight. That's what, and so it's an incredibly valuable resource. But you're absolutely right; it gets consumed all the time, and it really should be treated as such. Do you know time is the one thing that I will not allow people to steal from me?
Yeah, because you don't get that.
Because it's money. Fine, it could happen, and all the rest of it. And I wouldn't be as much upset about the fact if it was time. I'd be more upset if somebody stole my time. And that's why I expect when people say, and it's quite funny, because when I was out in Spain, I actually turned up on time for meeting somebody, and they turned up late, and they went, "Oh, you were on time," as if it was normal. It's like, wait a minute, you see, you're going to be somewhere for that time. You're going to be there.
But yeah, you're right. It's not an unlimited resource, and I think once you realise and recognise that and appreciate it, then you will prioritise your time a lot more carefully in order to achieve your goals and live your life fully and have fulfilment in what you do. I think, and that's quite an important thing to recognise and get the right mindset with time.
I have a
and
sneaking
appreciating it
suspicion.
and living present.
Richard, I have a sneaking suspicion that I actually once I realised how valuable time was, and I'm sure it was the magic of thinking big that this actually came up. It was the first book I read, and the fact, the first positive mental PMA, positive mental attitude book I read. It was recommended by my mentors, and I'm sure
I actually wrote
that was
down.
the book. Yeah, that was the book it actually talked about in one of the chapters early on about the fact that, if somebody turns up late for an appointment, you should be more upset about the fact that they've stolen your time rather than actually they've wasted your money, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because your time you'll never get back. The money you could make again somewhere else. You can acquire money anytime you want. There's floating about everywhere. You just have to attract it towards you. But you'll never get the time back. Yeah, you'll never get the time back. So you've got to prioritise your time carefully in order to achieve the goals, and that life fulfilling gives us that live fulfilling lives. Overall, in terms of how it is. So then, why is it important then? What's important to value in time then? Let's drill down on that. What I just said about how it's so valuable. What is the importance of value in time?
Well, valuing time means recognising its finite nature and treating it with as a precious resource, as we know it is. As we should know it is. When we value our time, we're more likely to use it in a way that aligns with our goals, our values, and we're less likely to waste it on activities that don't contribute to our well-being. And by valuing our time, we are able to make better decisions and how we spend it, and we are able to focus on the things that are most important to us. And I think that's a really good definition of the important, really.
That's actually really good in what you just said there. Do you think? So why is it that we just waste our time then? Why is it a lot of people just put their head in the sand and just like an ostrich, put their head in the sand and they just let time flitter away and they don't? Is it because they don't have any goals, or they don't have any desires, or they don't have any ambition? Therefore, they let it go and they don't bother.
For me, I think, and I see it happen quite a lot. I see it in a lot of people in a lot of different environments. But it's a loss of direction. I think people don't know what they're meant to be doing, or where they're going to be going, or where they're headed, or where they should be. So they just stick their head in the sand and let it pass by.
Do you think that's why people just live for the weekend?
Yeah, because that's the only thing that they know, and they think, all right, okay, and they get stuck into that kind of rut, and it's like that's the direction, but really that's not the direction you want to be in. That's not
because over the years, I remember people used to talk about it quite a lot when I was at. I'll see if I can get it out. Work. when I was at work, it's worse. It's the worst 4-letter word you'll ever see. So when I was at work, it was quite interesting because you used to have a lot of people used to say it's like where are you going for your holidays, and it was always about when your next holiday was, and then the next thing once your holiday was over, it was like, what are you doing for Halloween, or what are you doing for Christmas, or what are you doing for Easter, or what are you doing? And so there was always that there's always that regimental system that everybody buys into, that paradigm. I would say that paradigm when you grow up, we're back to where we spoke about last week about the paradigm, about you work the 40 to 50 year plan, and this is part of the 40 50 year plan. It's still indoctrinated into our system in terms of how we should do things and how regimental we should be, and the live for the weekend. There's a lot to do with that. I mean, everybody wants you to live for the weekend because they can sell you stuff, don't they? They want you to buy into that paradigm.
And everybody gets geared up for the Friday, Saturday, and it's like, and then you're right, and it's all kind of geared towards capitalising on people's mindset on the live for the weekend thing. Like, let's hit them with and then sell them things.
Literally, you're just treated like a mushroom. You're put in a dark corner and covered with poop. Effectively.
That's a good analogy.
That's effectively how society looks at you, isn't it? And that indoctrinated paradigm that they've got. You could see how I've learned how to say paradigm. It's taken me years to say paradigm. But I used to look at it and go, paradiagram. It's like I had to go and Google and press the voice, and it's like, oh, that's what it is. That's what that word is. Genuinely, I just couldn't say it, and every time I saw it, I was like, what is that word? But yeah, I've worked it out now, and so I'll use it quite a lot, and I've got like 57 years to catch up on it. So let's look at how time is valued actually in today's world. I mean, time as an opportunity cost is a classic example.
Yes, and I knew when I put this in here to talk about, I knew you would get excited about this, because time is an opportunity cost, and we've done a whole show on opportunity cost.
This is how we do things in terms of, if you do that, because you've only got one chance to do it, then you can't do this.
Yes.
This is why we talk about this all the time. So this is why I talk about, if you're a top salesman and you could genuinely generate hundreds of thousands of pounds for your company, or thousands of pounds for your company, and as a result you'll get an enhanced bonus for doing it, why on earth would you spend, would you spend 4 or 5 hours trying to clean the house if you could get a cleaner to do it? This was always my bone of contention with Elaine, because Elaine used to say to me, it's like, I goes, why do we not just get a cleaner to do that? I'll do it myself then, because you always wanted me to do it. It's like, but you don't understand, Elaine. I could earn a hell of a lot more in the time that's done, but she just doesn't get it. We've now reconciled to the fact that Elaine just keeps out of my business. That's it. In a nutshell. And she's happy just enjoying the money. And that's okay with me. That's fine with me. But I even got a pair of shoes, and they've got you've got wee flashers on the outside of the shoes. So when she's turning right and left, she can just put these indicators on, so you know what way she's going to the shops.
Are you being serious?
No.
I was just going to say, I never know where to believe you or not, but oh God, no way. Right, okay.
Could you imagine a pair of shoes with a set of indicators on them, so on the heels, so you can actually know which way she's going?
I didn't really see her buying that line, but you never know.
But you know what I mean? So she was adamant. It's like, no, could you clean this? It's like, flipping heck, Elaine, could you do the ironing? It's like, Elaine, I used to do the ironing when I was a student, when you worked full time, and I was happy to do that. And I used to make the tea and do everything else when I was a student. But now I could earn significantly more per hour than I was when I was a student. So why on earth should it be? Why should I be doing the ironing? Why should I be doing the cleaning when I could go out and earn, because I've only got a finite amount of time? This is opportunity cost. This is the fact that because I have to do the ironing is not costing me, I'm not saving £15 an hour for the ironing. It's costing me £250 an hour because I'm doing the ironing. That's where it is. And it's a classic example. Overtime for other people as well. They may be given up an opportunity to spend time with their family, to pursue or pursue a hobby. The value of our time is therefore closely tied to the value of the activities we could be doing instead. Billable hours for professionals.
But just before we move on, I was just going to say, we did do the show Opportunity Costs, and it's in the playlist if you look on the YouTube channel, and that's really good. If Opportunity Costs is something that obviously you're not quite sure of still, watch that. It's a good one. But yeah, you're talking about...
Was that the one when I bought a Lamborghini Huracan?
That was a Lamborghini.
Yeah, it was.
It's a really good show, actually.
That'll be an interesting one for people to watch, and the opportunity cost of me buying a Lamborghini Huracan. Anyway, that's another story. Look up in the playlist, Wealth Creation Show. You'll see it on our Five Properties channel or our separate YouTube channel. Let's
talk about so billable hours.
Billable hours.
So,
you could do it for professionals as well. What do we need to know about that then, Richard?
Yeah, so for professionals and things, time's often billed in hourly increments. So this means that the more time they spend working on a client's individual project, then the more they can bill for their services. Solicitors and things do that, obviously, like when they're working on case and if they're spending time. And in these cases, the value of time is directly tied to the amount of money that can be billed for each hour they work. And you see that quite a lot. And that's the definition of billable hours. And yeah, like I say, obviously, solicitors and things, you'll be, if you use solicitors and things, then you'll be very familiar with that concept.
Yeah, well, classic example for solicitors is the billable hours, isn't it? You get a tiered structure of how much it's going to cost. Accountants do that as well. You get a tiered structure. So if they pass it to one of the juniors, see how they're multiplying their time now. Because they're passing it to a junior and they're charging the junior out at a higher rate than they're paying the junior. Therefore, they're still making a profit on the junior's efforts, but they're not actually doing it with their hours now. This is how to multiply your success. This is how to get bigger. This is how billionaires make billions effectively and build empires, because they're multiplying their efforts. Right. Okay. So we've kind of covered that. I want to get on to talk about basically somebody like me, self-employed, entrepreneur ventures, all the rest of it.
Self-employed entrepreneurs, and
this is how we started,
and that'll fall into that category. Yeah.
This is how we started in the beginning. So this is how we started. Literally, we did everything ourselves. So we did the photographs ourselves. We did the descriptions ourselves for property when we were listing it, whether it was lettings or whether it was sales. We did all editing ourselves. We did all the uploads ourselves, and we did the typing up ourselves. Yeah, we did all that ourselves in the beginning, and it was because we didn't have enough business. But here's the argument for entrepreneurs. If you had got other people to help you do that in the beginning, would it not made more sense for you to go out and do the stuff that you're really good at and concentrate on what you're at, is actually sales, if you're really good at it. If you're an expert in sales and you've got loads of opportunity to sell, or you've got loads of opportunity to source, why on earth would you be sitting there and you would be doing, taking the photographs, organizing the files, all these different things, cleaning the floor, washing the windows. I've done it all, and you've done it all as well. And sometimes we do that still right now. That's for another reason. That's to prove a point. That's to prove a point to someone else. It's like, wait a minute. So you're going to get the managing director to wash the windows when basically you can go out and do it at a lower rate, and therefore where the opportunity cost of that is costing us a bloody fortune. That sort of thing. So self-employment and entrepreneurs really need to look at that. You need to try and not do it. And the advent of virtual assistants has actually helped immensely in this, because people all around the world can do stuff remotely for you now, and they can do it. All you need to do is record the video. We do it ourselves. We record training videos for them. We send it out to them. We say, this is what you want to do. Basically, regimental. Do that. Then do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that. And that's it. That's all I want you to do. Therefore, I'm not needing to do it anymore. And then once we've done that, when you get it back, do this way, do that way, do this way, do that way, and do that way. Therefore, perfect. Now, their cost per hour is a hell of a lot less than what our cost per hour is. So it avoids us doing it. So we have limited resources again with time. So therefore, it now allows us to free up that time and go and concentrate on generating more business, which generates more turnover, which generates more money. And that's the key here. That's where it's all done. So it's closely tied to the success of the business. It means that the time must be effectively used to generate revenue and build the business itself. The more successful the business, the more valuable the time of the entrepreneur becomes.
Yes. The more successful you become, then the more that your time becomes valuable.
Yeah. This was quite interesting. This was a really good one. Jamie, ring.com, Jamie Siminoff. Yeah, he was telling me about ring.com, and he was talking about the turnover for the year being 7 billion.
That's crazy.
And then he told me how many employees he had, right? And then I divided the 7 billion by the number of employees, and I went, "You're having a laugh."
Oh, we done this. You told me this calculation actually.
Honestly, it was something crazy. It was something like, what was it? I don't know, 1.5 million each they're generating in sales.
Yeah, I think it was,
Was it? It was something like that.
Yeah,
It was 7 billion, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, divided by 4 equals Yeah, it was something like each employee was generating 1.5 million in sales, and
It
I'm
was
like,
over 1 million anyway when you told me, yeah, and I'm like, God,
that's mental.
for each member.
That's
Yeah.
for each employee you had 1.5 million. No wonder Amazon paid him over $1 billion for it. Flipping heck, that's unbelievable. But that's the true value. So the thing is, he wasn't. I mean, he did it all in the beginning as well, and he started in the beginning. But he was lucky because he got people like Richard on his side, and Richard was able to mentor them. I could more or less say that was the case. Richard's mentoring them and telling them how he should be doing things, putting them in touch with the right team, giving them the fast track route to making a meteoric success with this, purely because Richard had invested in it, and then Shaq O'Neal had invested in it as well. So obviously everybody wants to see this be a meteoric success overnight, and that gives them a huge return on investment. See how, if he had kept this all to himself, do you think his 100% of what he kept to himself would have been more valuable than the actually, I know what he got out of this. So he got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. He got 300 million out of that.
Okay.
Out of that deal, out of the billion he sold for. So he more or less owned about 30% of the business still, and the rest were owned by someone else. So when you think about that, do you think the 300 million that he got for having 30% of the business was worth less than what he would have had if he had 100% to himself?
No, I know the answer is no. But explain it then.
So you're better to have 30% of something than 100% of nothing.
Yeah.
Because 100% would have been a lot less than the 30% he would have had with the rest, because he had people effectively like dragons or sharks, from Shark Tank on his side, investing in him, but also giving him the fast track route to meteoric success overnight.
Yeah.
That's the key here. So that's why you've got to plug yourself into the right people. See, self-employed people and entrepreneurs as well, and people who want to build businesses and they want to build fast. You should approach people like me and actually ask me, hey Jim, do you fancy investing in my business? Because if you invest in my business, I can tap into all your knowledge and expertise about how you got there, and I could get there a lot quicker in terms of my success. That's how you do it. Because again, we're coming back to saying you're better to have 50% of something than 100% of basically a job. Because that's what self-employment is. That's what running your own business is on your own. It's just a job, but you get no paid holidays, and you get no pension, and yet when you're off sick, you didn't get any pay either. That's what it is being self-employed on your own. Being self-employed actually pays you less than what it does a salaried employee. Did you know that, Richard?
Yeah.
A self-employed person actually gets less money. Oh, but I've got all my time to myself. It's like, okay then.
To do what?
Then kid yourself. You've got to work a lot longer hours all the time, and a lot more unsociable hours, just to keep the plate spinning. Do you know how I know that? Because I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it in the beginning, and it's no great. So being self-employed isn't what it's cracked up to be. Work at a job for someone else, work and be great and get paid well, take your money and invest it on a side hustle that develops your lifestyle later on. That's what you do. This is the paradigm that you should follow. You shouldn't know this thing about, I'm giving up my job, I'm throwing caution at the wind. Unless you've got a surefire bet, unless you're guaranteed success, you're better just sticking at your job and doing your side hustle and building wealth at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I totally agree. And I would just kind of cast my mind back there, Jim, as we talk about Richard and Jamie. And we spoke about it last week on the show. And you spoke about Richard obviously valuing, he valued his time because obviously he was wanting to kind of increase the longevity of his life, and he was doing things for that. And Jamie had said that he was looking into new business ventures, and you'd said to him, do you really want to do it all again? And he was like, yeah, definitely, and I'm going to do that. And that just demonstrates to me they are really successful and have a lot of money, but they still value time more than they value money.
So the money is effectively just a scorecard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you know what it's like? It's almost like an addiction. It's like an addicted gambler. It's like an alcoholic. It's just a different vice. You're just addicted to generating, to developing wealth, and the money is the scorecard. It tells you if you're actually doing it, if you're actually any good at it. That's effectively it. And a lot of people get locked into that dilemma, and they, you know, they climb a ladder of success, but at some point in time they realize the ladder was on the wrong wall.
Yeah.
Even though they've got all the money, they didn't realize their ladder was leaning against the wrong wall, and what they actually wanted was the freedom and the peace of mind and the accolade at the fact that they did it themselves and they built it themselves. But they'll never be satisfied. People like that, they'll never be satisfied.
No.
Do you know how I know that? Because that was me.
Yeah, it's just like, you've got the same approach. I mean, obviously financial success and things, but you still look back now and you have the mindset now that your time's a lot more valuable than the money, and if you lost it all, that's fine. You could replenish that.
I'll just do it again.
Yeah, but you would never get the time back. And I think
you know how to be really successful at something. Get used to loving the grind.
Yeah,
that's not the money. Love the grind. If you love the grind, you'll be successful with anything you put your efforts into. Anything, and I mean that, because if you learn to love the grind, you'll never quit. And we know by everybody that's gone before us and all the people that have been extremely successful in whatever field they are, they've only become extremely successful because they've never quit. That's it. They just hung around long enough.
Yeah, definitely. And I think time, unlike money or other resources even, time is a non-renewable resource. So once it's gone forever. And there's no way to get it back. And this means that time is incredibly valuable and should be treated as such. So while we could always make more money, we can never make more time.
So that then says that time's the ultimate currency, isn't it?
It is the ultimate currency, yeah. And some might argue that time is that ultimate currency.
I would say definitely time is the ultimate currency. It's more important than anything. And if you can acquire other people's skills and resources and time, that's how you can duplicate yourself. This is because basically that time is what allows us to do the things we love.
Yeah.
It also allows us to spend time with the people we care about and create the life we want. While money effectively can provide us with a certain level of comfort and security, as we all know.
Yeah.
That's really what people want at the beginning. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, isn't it? It's the need for survival at the top. It's the comfort and security, and then after that comes the self-actualization. It's like, look at me, worship me, I am the best. You never get to that. Never ever get to that point. If you ever get to that point, you're doomed straight away. Just keep in the zone of the humble bit and just keep getting used to the grind, loving the grind, and just keep doing it and hanging about long enough. And the great thing is, help other people do it as well. So you can all be doing it as well, and you could basically all be sitting on the beaches of the world enjoying life. That's effectively it. My mentors used to talk to me about this all the time. It says, Jim, one day you could be sitting on the beaches of the world with all of us. And I used to go, God, that would be brilliant. Just like, to just sit on the beaches of the world with. Now, a friend is just a stranger is effectively, a stranger is just a friend you've not met yet.
Yeah.
That's it. That's effectively it. And at that point in time, I never knew who these people could be, because I knew it was my mentors, but my mentors have, gone by the wayside and all the rest of it. They were fantastic at that time, and they got me to a certain point in life, just as a rocket takes off and then, the fuel tanks fall off the side. My mentors fall off the side, and I outgrow them basically. And in terms of what I'm doing, and then I find new people to get me to the next level. And then that's how you find all these different people. Hence the reason why you appear at Necker Island, and all of a sudden it's like two other people come out the resources, and it's like Richard Branson and Jamie, and it's like, wow,
you start to draw things to them that are going to help you progress. Yeah.
Yeah, and these are the type of people I'd be probably looking at and thinking, you know, what's your journey and how's it going? And you know, I will catch up with Jamie at some point in time and saying, how's it going then? You know, I know you're giving it 2 years, but we're 1 year in now. And this is my speech for next November at Next, because we'll all be there again anyway. It seems that it's all the same people that go, so we'll all be there again. So it'll be like this is mad discussions already coming out. But these are the sort of things that gives us the comfort and security, but it can't buy us more time. But we can buy other people's time. So time is what allows us to live a meaningful and fulfilling life, and therefore it's more valuable than money.
Yeah.
So mastering time equals money equation. This is the key here. This is one of the key criteria. How to master time equals money equation. I talked about this a lot in the past. Effective time management strategies is definitely one of them. Now, one of the keys and one of the key ways actually to master the time equals money equation is through effective time management. Now, what does this mean? Well, this means learning to prioritize tasks and to focus on the most important ones. And then what you do is what we spoke about the other week, Richard, you know, the important, not urgent, then not important, not important, not urgent, not important, and urgent. This is where you have to delegate or minimize the less important tasks that you need to do. So delegate them to PAs, to virtual assistants, to people that are working for you, to junior associates and stuff like that. So some effective time management strategies can include actually creating a to-do list, for example.
Yeah.
Scheduling tasks on a calendar. I do it every single time. We spoke about it last week when I was walking along the beach, and we spoke about something. You says, you want to do this, you want to do that. I says, look, send me an email, right, and tell me. And then what I'll do is when I get the email, I'll flag it, and I did, and I flagged it, and then it tells me then that's my calendar, or I'll put time in my calendar. What gets scheduled gets done. Remember that, people.
Yeah.
What gets scheduled gets done. If you've got a problem with being able to do stuff and actually be effective at doing what you're meant to be doing, and you're not doing what you're meant to be doing, then you're clearly not scheduling it in your diary for to do, and then you're not following it up.
You're not sticking to your diary.
Yeah, that's the discipline. The schedule comes first. If you don't schedule it anywhere in your diary, you're probably not doing it, because then you're keeping it all up here. And the best one in the world, what happens is somebody else comes along, distracts you, and then you forget all about it. And then you come back and think, God damn, I never did that. I forgot to do it.
Or you'll think, what was that again?
Aye, it's like, oh, tell me about it. Middle of the night, I have to physically get out of my bed, and I have to go to my laptop and put all out my head I've been thinking about into my laptop there and then, because I'll guarantee it. Now, people say, stick a bit of pen and paper at the edge of your bed. If I put the light on, I'll get killed. It's like, I value my life. Elaine will probably still stay asleep, actually, but as far as I'm concerned, if Elaine put the light on with me, I'd be like, what? You woke me up. It's like, that's me up now at 4 o'clock in the morning. But so the key is here, I wouldn't do that to Elaine, so I don't expect her to do it to me. So I go out of the room and I actually sit at my laptop, and that's why a lot of people think, God, you're working at 3 or 4 in the morning. I've just got to download this all and dump this into a screen dump into the computer, and then I can go back to my bed. I'll have a wee cup of tea, just to change my mind and settle it down. And then what I do is I just go back to my bed and I fall fast asleep again for the next couple of hours, and I'm right as rain when I get up. Woohoo! Ready to go. Everybody go, how do you manage to do that? But that's how I do it. I dump it all out of my head onto the computer, onto my calendars, onto my scheduling, and then I then have a wee break in between, change my focus, maybe watch something on the telly, you know, a comedian or something like that, Gervais or Out, what's his name? Mickey Flanagan, something like that. Just give me see, I'm changing my thought process. So when I go to my bed, I'm fine. And a cup of hot tea, a cup of decaf coffee.
Decaffeinated, I was just going to say.
Or hot milk or something like that. Because what happens is when you drink hot tea, hot milk before you go to your bed, it goes into your stomach, and your stomach gets nice and warm. and there's something in your stomach, it creates a hormone or something like that. It actually says, right, prepare yourself for sleep when you lie down. It sets it off and makes it easier to sleep by drinking something hot. So that's a really good important tip. But let's get back to effective management strategies. So time management, to-do lists, calendars, time blocking techniques. That's in Pomodoro technique, which is working in a focused 25-minute bursts. So in other words, 25 minutes,
really
do
focused.
that.
I've heard that.
And then we're done. Now, in a state agency, this is, some of the corporates used to do this all the time. They used to go, right, we're having a customer focus session, and for the next hour, everybody was on the phones, phoning everybody, and then that was it, done. And then they're on to the day-to-day job again. So that's that sort of technique. So this all comes down as well to the importance of setting goals and priorities. So what are your thoughts on this about setting goals and priorities?
Yeah, definitely. I think you're completely right about effectively using your time and time management strategies. But I think, like we spoke about earlier, a lot of people are kind of a wee bit aimless and bury their head in the sand because they don't have any sense of direction, and they've not got proper goals and priorities set out. And setting clear goals and priorities can really help you make a better use of your time. And by defining what's most important to us, then what we want to achieve, we can focus our time and our energy on the activities that will help us reach those goals. And that could also help us avoid time-wasting activities that don't contribute to ultimately our long-term success and us reaching where we want to be in life or in our journey.
Yeah, can I tell you, when you talked about the importance of setting clear goals and priorities to help us make better use of our time, do you know what percentage of the population that it does that then?
I don't know.
5.
Oh yeah, top 5%.
5% population. 5% of the population, I guarantee you do that. That is the 5% group. That's the people who end up wealthy, financially free, 4% of them, and the other 1% are rich beyond their wildest dreams. That's the 5% group. That's the ones that prioritise and that actually write down their goals clearly, clearly define it. The other 95% are wishy-washy. And unfortunately, 95% of the population will fall in that category. And if you're in that category, you better do something about it if you want to.
Yeah.
If you keep doing the same thing that you've always done for the rest of your life, that you're always doing right now, you'll still keep getting the same result. It will never change for you unless you change something. If you want to change something in your life, you've got to change something in your life.
Yeah. And it really comes down to, I mean, I mentioned there about doing things that are time-wasting activities, and really avoiding time-wasting activities and using your time better is so important. So, I mean, tell us a wee bit about what would you categorize as something that would be a time-wasted activity, depending on, like, in your own experience, maybe? I know what mine's are.
Social media.
Yeah, that's
TikTok. TikTok. Flipping heck, TikTok knows everything about you, how to get you addicted to what you're doing right now. These are the dream stealers. The dream stealers. The original dream stealer is the one-eyed monster that sat in the corner of your room and somebody talked to you every night from it. That's the television. That's the original dream stealer.
And the television was the original, and now it's people's phones and social media.
Now it's your phone. Now it's your phone, definitely. The television is basically taking a second place now, but it's effectively become what used to be the radio. It's literally, instead of video killed the radio star, it's now social media killed the TV star. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
So effectively, social media, excessive television watching. This is why I don't buy into series. When people say, when Elaine says there's a fantastic series we've been told about, and it's just starting, should we watch that series? And I go, no way am I watching a series, because we'll be watching it next year. We'll be watching it next year. We'll be watching it in 10 series down, in 10 years down. I'll have wasted all that time. I could be more productive with my life and actually spend some time with my kids or my grandchildren.
You do enjoy watching
Tony Scott and Jen.
Certain films you enjoy, but not to get wrapped up into series that run on for years and years, but you do enjoy.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty. Listen. We watched The Crown. You know, when I was out in Spain, Elaine says, I need something to watch on the telly and I don't want to watch anything else. Well, I just watched The Crown because we watch it together, obviously. And you could watch it, you know, when you're out there. And she was desperately wanted to watch something, but she didn't want to invest any time in anything else because we're kind of committed. It's The Crown and that's it. Right. We don't do EastEnders. We don't do Coronation Street. We don't do Emmerdale. We've never, none reality. We didn't even watch I'm a Celebrity at all. None of it. And I am so proud of myself for not doing that. I tell you, it's one of my highlights for the year, the fact that I resisted watching any of that content at all. Yeah. Because it's just a dream stealer. It's like the time that you could be doing something else. And fair enough. So I invest time in watching films because films are like 1.5 hours, 2 hours, we're done. Yeah. I don't need to invest in any other time and waiting for a series. But if another film comes out, it's a year later, 2 years later, so it doesn't take up a huge amount of time. That's the thing. So minimize your activities and focus on more productive ones. That's the key here. We can make better use of our time, ultimately achieving more success in our personal and even our professional lives.
Yeah, there's another one. There's another time-wasting activity that it was my vice for a while, and it's took me a long time to stop doing it, and it's procrastinating about things. I was so guilty of that, and I still find myself sometimes.
That's a good shout, Richard. Yeah. That is a good shout. That is one. It basically, you know, takes a hell of a lot of time.
It's a lot of people.
It's overthinking as well.
Yeah.
As you go into now, this is where How to Stop Worrying and Start Living is a great book, Dale Carnegie.
Mm-hmm.
And in there, he talks about it specifically. He says, think about this one situation, okay? This one thing. Like he gives an example about what the decision is, but the outcome hasn't happened yet. And he says, how many things can you write down on the paper right now about all the different outcomes that can happen? Okay, so, and he says, just bear with me. So you write all these things down and you're there for about the next half an hour if you keep going. And some people could be there for the next hour, okay? And then he comes to the end and he says, how much time did you spend on that? And you go, okay, it's 1 hour I've spent on that. Mm-hmm. And he says, okay, so if the outcome was this, and it was this only, which it would be, one thing, then how much time would you have spent on it if you had ignored all the other outcomes? Well, literally 30 seconds. He says, so effectively, you need to stop thinking about all the different outcomes that could happen because you've now highlighted the fact that you're wasting all that other time on it. See how that's a great analogy of how to do it.
You waste a lot of mental and physical energy thinking about things that are never going to happen or never going to materialize. It's all they could have or they could happen or they might happen. And it's like, just think about what.
Do you know the best way to do it? Pick up the phone and just speak to somebody. Just pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. And instead of thinking about that, then instead of thinking about what you should be doing, and it's like, oh, I've got to phone this person. I've got to phone this person. I'll phone them later on this afternoon because it's really uncomfortable. I've got to phone this person. So you get to the afternoon, you say, it's going to be really uncomfortable. It's like, I'll phone them later on tonight. And it's like, okay, we're later on tonight. Oh, they might be they might be watching Emmerdale, they might be watching Coronation Street, or they might be out working, or they might be just relaxing. It's like, I wouldn't really want to disturb them. Tell you what, I'll phone them tomorrow. Oh my God. It's like, see the amount of energy and time you just spent thinking about all day. Flip it.
You can down the road.
Just do all the difficult stuff in the morning and pick up the phone straight away and get on with it. Get out of the way. I tell you what, it solves all the problems. If you've got a problem in your life and you think you can't earn enough money, pick up the phone and speak to someone. Speak to a customer, speak to a client, because that's the way you're going to do it. Engage with your customers, engage with your clients. Just get on and do it.
Yeah.
And the whole adage of Nike, just do it.
Just do it, yeah.
That's I can't believe we've actually spoken all this time about this.
I know.
So overall then, what is the conclusion out of this?
Yeah, I think, we've spoke about in the time equals money concept and the importance of that in today's world, and we've discussed how time is a limited resource, how time is valued in today's world through various maybe payment structures and things like that as well, and why time is more valuable than money is quite important.
I'll tell you what we've done as well, Richard. We've also looked at how we can master the time equals money equation through the effective time management strategies and setting goals and priorities, and using time tracking and productivity tools is a really good one, and also avoiding time wasting activities. That's what we've spoken about. So where does that lead us then?
Yeah, so I think really well the understanding of the time equals money concept is so crucial in today's world, where time is often the most valuable commodity. By valuing our time, we can make better decisions about how we spend it, where we focus it on activities, and align with our values and goals. And this can ultimately lead to greater success, fulfillment, and ultimately happiness. Or should I'd probably say contentment, because we don't like to say it.
Yeah,
We don't like to say
I'll
happiness.
put that in there. It's like, it's not the pursuit of happiness, it's the pursuit of being content every single day. If you can be content every single day, that's an easy goal to achieve. And it's not climbing a mountain. And as a result of you feeling content every single day, in fact, you'll actually end up feeling happy if that's your goal. As a result, and naturally, you'll always feel happy then, for that reason. So see how that's easy. So you've set yourself a really easy bar, because being content all the time makes you feel good inside anyway. So ultimately, overall, that's perfect. Okay, so that's us. We're done. I don't think there's anything else to say about this. You know, everybody else have a fantastic Christmas, and welcome for the new year and stuff like that as well. But I'm off to have some Christmas dinner.
Yeah. So I hope
I've got an oven. I can smell it right now.
Thanks for going through that with us, Jim. That was really good. I think it's a really interesting topic. Time is so valuable, and let's go and make the most of it. And we will get you on the New Year show for the wealth creation. And until then, we will see you all.
Bye bye for now.